Hello, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the XL Nihilego in the Open Master League. And this Pokemon actually got a buff. This Pokemon is access to the move Power Gem, which I actually didn't know, but I battled someone with the exact same team that I'm running here right now. But there was most likely one move change from the opponent that I battled. Like I saw shorts to you, I don't really know your name anymore as well, but definitely cool team here for sure. But there's one move update here that they did for sure most likely on the Nihilego that I didn't do. I decided to go for the Gang Shot just because it's A, funny, and B, I already had it on this Pokemon. But I would actually recommend you to go for a different move on this one. It actually makes a bit more sense to go ahead and go for Rock Slide, and Rock Slide over the Gang Shot. So you're gonna try to run a double rock type charge moveset, where Power Gem is going to be a hard hitting charge move to go for, but Rock Slide is going to be one that is going to help you out a bit more with pacing, which is something that, while Rock Slide got really nerfed this season, definitely going to help you out with a lot of matchups. Anyway, this team is really cool and a lot of fun because we have also the face-up of Tapu Bulu on this team, which is running the charge move of Solar Beam. And that, of course, is quite a bit unique, and that's definitely caught me off guard in the battle against this player as well. And so I kind of want to try it out. Hindsight, I don't really think we really needed it. There's sometimes some scenarios where it's kind of funny. For example, the opponent swaps into a Zacian, the opponent swaps out into a Xerneas, something where it's very neutral, then it's kind of great. But there are a lot of times they swap out into Pokemon that are like Steel typing or whatever, and then you think like, great, now I have Solar Beam on this Pokemon, doesn't really help me at all. But Solar Beam itself, still kind of a fun one for sure. And here we're going to have a scenario where we're going to be in a great spot as it can even use a shield against the Rock Wrecker. Now we have 2 shields against, 0 shields by the way, against the 2 shields at Rhyperior, but we can just fully farm them down. Next opponent coming through, we're going to have Palkia here. How do you want to play this matchup? You kind of want to stay in for 6 fast moves of your own and then swap out. 6 fast moves of your own one should be kind of the exact same energy that they need to get to 1 Aqua Tail, which would be super effective. Here, for whatever reason, the opponent still went for a Spatial Rent against our, Tapu Bulu, which doesn't make any sense at all, especially if they have the hardest answer here kind of in the back, which is going to be Solgaleo. Solgaleo is definitely the hardest answer to this Pokemon. And now we're going to be in a spot where I can easily take 1 Iron Head. Iron Head is the hardest hitting move from the opponent, but after the debuff, I kind of want to go for the safe play and use a shield. Here, it's going to be the Psychic Fangs coming through from the opponent, and so I know there's going to be another Psychic Fang, but of course, we are now at -3 defense, and that can be a bit tricky. Especially as I'm going to swap on to the Palkia again, which I try to counter now with my own Nihilego. Again, if I had the other kind of charge move, pacing would be a bit easier. Maybe would have been able to go for a Rock Slide before they could swap out. But this is not the case. And so, again, something that I would recommend you to change for the time if you want to play this team yourself, which I actually would recommend you. This team is a lot of fun. Go for a Rock Slide over Gang Shot. You don't actually need Poison type coverage on this Pokemon because your Fast Move already does a ton of damage, and Power Gem after the buff is definitely a bit better than any kind of other charge move for this Pokemon, and still a Rock Slide you need for pacing reasons. Anyway, you're going to see here sadly a loss for us because Yveltal has no way of beating both of the opponent's Pokemon. There are quite a lot of Pokemon, quite a lot of people here trying to run a triple fairy, but here we were seeing a Rhyperior say something, the opponent decides to forfeit immediately for whatever reason. Horrible lead in the next one here, though, we're going to have the Mewtwo, which is one of the Pokemon where I would like to see a different move on the Tapu Bulu. Here, Tapu Bulu can run the move Mega Horn, which should be very good for us. But here I decided to go for a shield. I tried to go for the Solar Beam, but actually they're going to decide to catch the move onto the Dialga, which is fine because we didn't go for the Solar Beam, we went for the Nature's Matters. And so we're going to be able to get them quite low. And I'm going to try to do something silly maybe, I'm not too sure about it. I'm gonna try to go for the full farm down here with the Nihilego, but because I locked myself into this matchup, this was actually not really a smart move because now they can go back into the Mewtwo and like, what am I gonna do next? I'm gonna try to go for the Gang Shot. Is it going to connect against the opponent? It is not, and so we are in a very tough spot now. This is not how it's supposed to work. This is definitely quite a difficult time for us, as I also kind of underestimated how much energy they actually got. As they're gonna swap out now into their Palkia, I was not aware that they actually have already a charge move stored, and I think they were even 1 over 1. So I think they're currently at like 6 fast moves in terms of energy on the Mewtwo. And so that is going to be something that I definitely didn't really respect later as well. Here I'm gonna try to catch a move soon as well, but of course the opponent is going to be able to get there a bit faster than I expected. And so while we can knock out now the Palkia, we have to catch the move from the Mewtwo. But because they have actually so much energy already on that Mewtwo, I have no chance here. Like, even if I catch the move, which I didn't, of course, obviously there, the opponent still would have been able to outspeed me to the next charge move, and so there was no way of winning this battle realistically. But maybe the next battle is going to be a bit easier. Because we're going to have here the Tapu Bulu, we're going to have the Rhyperior, which is apparently the only Saison people are running nowadays, which is fine for us, because we have a good answer for it. We have the Tapu Bulu, we can shield up the Rock Wrecker as well as the opponent sneaks in another move. This can be a bit of a trickier one, because as you're gonna see here, we are not going to be able to go for the full farm down, and maybe here even Grassland would be ideal on this Pokemon, who knows. We're still going to go ahead and go for the Nature's Madness, going to get the shield from the opponent with this. We are forced to use our final shield as well in order to realign ourselves. As our Rock Wrecker is coming through here, we're going to see most likely the Fairy type coming back in there as well in terms of the Zacian, which I'm wrong about. It's going to be the, oh no, it was Tapu Bulu. Never mind, it wasn't the Fairy type of Zacian. It was Tapu Bulu, of course. Zacian was the game before. Tapu Bulu here is going to take quite a lot of damage from the poison jabs already. They're now going to be even in farm down range for our Yveltal, which is lovely. Now it depends on what they have in the back. It is going to be their own Yveltal, and as we can go for the Power Gem, this is going to be enough to definitely do a ton of damage against them, but also you're going to be able to force a shield from the opponent. But not only this, they underestimated the energy gain of our Nihilego, and so we can go for another Power Gem, which is going to take the clear knockout here, and we can win the battle just with that Nihilego. Here's one of the matchups where it is better to have Rock Slide. You're going to have the exact same pacing as the opponent, and you also need exactly the same amount of energy to go for your first charge move. And this would be different if you have a Rock Slide. Rock Slide still needs 45 energy, Power Gem needs 50 energy. And so against Yveltal, especially in the lead matchup, it is quite important to have Rock Slide still, even though of course it's a garbage move. It's still going to help you out quite a bit. Here we're going to get out the opponent's Ho-Oh, which apparently goes for a mixture between the Incinerate and Bullet Seed, because currently the fast move animation seems to be bugged for a lot of Pokemon. Yeah, they're definitely gonna go for Bullet Seed right now, which is quite ridiculous to be fair. But yeah, that's the game we play. I see it also like in terms of like viewers dropping for nearly everyone on YouTube or like Twitch. Like the interest in the game currently with the state it is in is understandably not as high anymore, but it is what it is. Hopefully Niantic is going to see it and try to fix some stuff, but yeah, we can just only hope. We can also only hope that Yveltal is going to be able to beat the Slanderous. It's going to be quite an uphill battle here at this point. We can still try our best though. Stonehenge is going to get shielded by us, and we can go for the Oblivion Wing, which would easily knock them out from this range. And so, let's take a look at how this is going to go. We're going to get the shield. They're going to try to go for their Stonehenge here very likely. And we're still going to be able to go for another charge move though, and that is going to be quite juicy, as now we're going to be able to go for that Oblivion Wing, and this is going to knock them out for sure. And now it's down to the final Pokemon, which is going to be that Ho-Oh. Can we still win the battle? We can take a hit here. Is it please going to be the Brave Bird, which drops the opponent's defense? It is not. It's going to be the Sacred Fire, and so we're barely going to lose here. Next opponent is going to have a great lead for us. They're going to have the Xerneas, and they're going to swap onto the Yveltal. And everything I talked about before about like pacing, it doesn't matter here anymore, because we have one fast move advantage, which allows us to guarantee basically this matchup here. But we don't actually really need this, as you're going to be able to get on our own Yveltal, which is now also always going to be able to outspeed the opponent by one fast move, which is quite nice. And so we can go for the Oblivion Wing. This is going to be enough to get them very, very low, and we can just use a shield here now, because even though they have a Xerneas there, we are going to be able to still do a ton of damage with the Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing for sure needed in the current meta on the Yveltal. There was actually some discussion before where people actually opted to go for Focus Bars over Oblivion Wing, but now Oblivion Wing is for sure needed just for the Fairy type Pokemon alone, and especially now where Yveltal also has fast move pressure, which it never had before then. Anyway, we want to see here the Orlando is coming in. I was hoping I could go still for the Solar Beam there in time, but it doesn't really make too much sense here, as I have the option to drop my attack with the Sensia Storm, which is very likely going to be happening very soon here as well. But we're actually going to shield up the correct move in the Stone Edge, and so it's all down to Tapu Bulu. Can we go for the Nature's Madness here and try to get the knockout against them? It is going to get the shield from the opponent. That's going to be actually quite lovely, because now we do quite a lot of damage against them. And I make a bit of a mistake here. I decided to swap straight away into my Nihilego, but luckily I can still go for the full farm down, which also going to allow us to still take this hit from the opponent, and we should be able to win the battle by going for one more Power Gem, and that is going to be it for this one. Let's move on to the next opponent. Next opponent, we're going to have the Yveltal here in the lead. That's going to be definitely, again, a Pokemon we would like to have a Rock Slide instead, but we don't, and that is totally okay, because we're gonna have here still our the Landorus against our Yveltal this time around. They go for the Stone Edge, which is fine, and look at the fast move pressure that we have, and honestly, Yveltal in neutral scenarios is ridiculously strong. I let the move go through here, actually calling the correct bait there with the Sensia Storm, which is quite important, which I was a bit worried, I have to say. I'm still not really used to the current pacing of Mudshot, but that is fine. We can still go ahead and go for another charge move here. This will knock them out for sure. We overfarmed by one fast move as well, and they're gonna go back into their own Yveltal, and we see just two birds flapping their wings against each other, which is totally fine. Oblivion Ring gonna get us quite low, and as we are debuffed, I rather decide to swap out of here, go for my Power Gem, and this would knock them out straight away, which it does, and so it's down to the final Pokemon. We have one charge move stored, but you have basically the worst possible Pokemon to encounter now. Nihilego only does double resisted or single resisted damage. Our Tapu Bulu only takes, does single resisted or double resisted damage as well. I think, no, actually only single resisted damage, because Fairy as well as Grass is just single resisted from the opponent. And so basically, we're going to be in a spot here where we are not going to look too great with the Pokemon that we have left, because also Iron Head is super effective, and Iron Head is going to be also able to get us quite low here, as we gonna try our best to go ahead and go for that Nature's Madness. I get them quite low with that. I don't think they're gonna use a shield here, because they still know, of course, I have a move start on my Yveltal. It doesn't matter, we can go for the full farm down, and that's going to be it for this one. Next opponent, we're gonna take a look here at Yveltal. Yveltal against Nihilego, again, is going to be a matchup. I know, I haven't actually said it yet in this video. You kind of would like to have Rock Slide. I know, comes to a surprise here, but it's definitely something that would be beneficial for you in those scenarios, and definitely something I would recommend you to try out. But honestly, Nihilego, well, it was a meme in the last few seasons. In this season, I would not say it's a meme. Like, there are so many teams, even teams that are basically Yveltal double Fairy teams. You completely destroy them. And so Nihilego had never more play than before here, especially, which is kind of hilarious for this one. We're in a meta where we have Mudslap, Rhyperior everywhere, and this Pokemon is performing like it never did before, which is kind of, I don't know, that doesn't really make too much sense, but it is what it is. We're gonna see also a ton of Fairy-type Pokemon, that's mainly the reason for it. We also see here a Waterfall variant of Primarina, which is a cool Pokemon to use, especially as it's a shiny boy here as well. Hydro Cannon is going to be, yeah, shield up for us. We can still try to go for our own charge move, but it is gonna be a bit of a trickier one. They still have a Pokemon left in the back. Let's see if they're gonna go for that one, and they decide to catch and move here onto their own Yveltal, which is fine. We can go ahead, go for the Oblivion Ring, get them quite low, but it is not going to look too good for us, but we can still get the knockout here, which is going to be great, because now we still have a move stored on our Nihilego, and we're gonna try our best here to get that Power Gem onto them. Hopefully this is going to be enough to knock them out. Let's find out here. It is, and so we can win this battle. Next opponent coming through, we're going to have the Palkia in the lead. That is going to be a horrible lead, and again, you kind of want to go for 6 fast moves and then swap out. I guess you could also try to go for 7 or whatever, but like, I've not been able to, at least here, catch a move yet from Palkia. Would be very nice, but this is not really a very positive matchup for the opponent. It's just a neutral one, and again, I would have liked to go for a Solar Beam, and Solar Beam could come in clutch, but it did not really come in clutch in the battles that I did with this team. Here, it just doesn't really make sense to go for a Solar Beam against a Pokemon that just debuffed me. Like, Solar Beam only makes sense when you know that you can kind of one-shot the opponent or put them into range where you can farm them down. In this case, it did not really make any sense at all to use it, and so I didn't. And so we're gonna try our best to still win this battle by going for a Nature's Madness, getting the shield I can swap out of here. Palkia comes back in. I should be able to take a hit here. This should just be the Aqua Tail. It is just the Aqua Tail, and now it's down. If we cannot beat the opponent, which apparently you can't, which is, I guess, fine. Spatial Run is going to knock us out though, which I didn't expect that they would be able to get to the Spatial Run that fast. And yeah, they can even go for another charge move here. And they apparently knocked me out with that as well. And I completely just threw the battle, especially as I gonna try to go for the Power Gem, just to see him Peter again. I don't know what I did in this battle. I just gonna ignore this. This is going to be it for this video. Fun team to use, for sure. But also, maybe run Rock Slide over the Gung Shot, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.